Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Dr. Gitanjali Parekh, and today we are going to start with the unit 2, that is your information processing and learning and memory. So very well said by Mr. Brown, and that is the mechanism of learning and memory are the essence of how your brain works. So if you want to understand how your brain works, just you need to learn about how your learning takes place or how the memorization actually takes place. So in this unit, we will be discussing the learning and the memory. Let me just go ahead and see. So cognitive information processing. Here we will be dealing with the principles of the information processing, then the information processing in learning and memory, cognitive information processing model of learning, development of memory and information processing, the theories of information processing, you're designing instruction that incorporates breadth practices for information processing, Bloom's taxonomy of cognitive domain, and the last but not the least, that is Sternberg's information processing approach. Thereafter, we will be dealing with we will just sum up in little details what's all important is about. So let's start with your first heading that comes into play, that is your learning and memory. Fine, so let's get started with. So if you have to say the most fascinating and the mysterious properties of the brain is its capacity to learn, and whatever it just learns, it stores there in its mind form, so that that knowledge which can be used by the individual or the organism throughout its life. Now the ability to learn and to establish new memories, that is the fundamental basis of cognitive psychology. Now the most fundamental quality of any existence is that we should be able to learn new skills and to utilize those skills whenever that is required. Now for example, if we have to take an effective action, now if you have to understand what all words I'm just using it, you hear them and that information is being processed by the mind and it says that ma'am means this. So here we are using our memory each and every way, but we just fail to understand, or we take it in granted for so much way that we just forget or to pay attention that the memories are equally very important, and we only give heed to it only when we fail to means to say we fail to remember, or you are not able to recall someone's names or things like that. And that actually happens when there's a certain brain injury to it, or you can say so there's a certain diseases there, or decay might be there in the form of old age, etc. So now let's start with learning. What is learning? Now learning is nothing but it's acquiring new knowledge. It could be behavior skills, values, preferences, understanding, and then synthesizing it and processing in the different ways of that can be utilized. So that is what is actually is learning. And Benjamin Bloom, he suggested 3 domains of learning. First is your cognitive. Now cognitive means to recall, calculate, discuss, analyze, problem solving. All these factors, they come under your cognitive part. Then we have is the psychomotor part. Now psychomotor means where the musculature or the body parts are being involved. For example, dancing, swimming, skiing, cooking, riding, biking, etc. So they come under your psychomotor domain. Now thirdly is your affective. Now affective means your emotional part. Now if you enjoy or you like something, you love something, appreciate, fear, hate, now all these factors, they come under your affective part. Now these domains, they are not means to say exclusive. They are not mutually exclusive. They form a part and parcel of each and every learning situation. For example, if I want to learn to play tennis, now for that all these 3 aspects would be required. First is cognitive. And the cognitive, I had to learn the rules of tennis. That is how I can win the points, what is juice and things, the rules of the games. Secondly, that is the psychomotor. Now how I have to hold the racket, how I have to make a strike, etc. That comes under your psychomotor part. And in the affective part means how much I love the game, how much emotionally connected I feel with the game. So all these 3 aspects, they come into play when you actually learn any thing. anything. Even this learning of psychology, it also involves your these skills. Now we go on to your memory part. Now memory, there are three different types of memory. First is your sensory memory, second is your short term memory, third is your long term memory. Now the sensory memory is mostly associated with the transduction of information. Now at this present moment itself, there are thousands of information that is being bombarded on your skin. Means to say, it could be in the form of light, it could be in the form of smell, it could be in the form of sound, anything. So what that information, when it strikes your body, it means to say our body can understand that information only when it is in the electrical form or mind, in the is informed. So it has been decoded. So that has been changed. The electrical signals, the chemical, for example, so something falls on your body. Now that signal is changed into the electrical signal and then is being transferred to your brain. Now that memory lasts from 1 second to 3 seconds. Now in case of the visual, it is 4.5 a second or 1 to 2 seconds, you can say so. And for your hearing, it is of much more duration, it is for 3 seconds. So for example, if we pay importance to that information, for example, there is a bird chirping in the background. Now it will, if I hear it or if I give importance to it, that will be restored. Otherwise, it will form the background noise and it will just move out. Getting my point? So there are two things which come into play when the information is stored from sensory memory to your short-term memory. For first thing is, if it stays there, the sound is for a longer duration of time, then it is transferred to your short-term memory. Or if we give a certain importance to that sound, then it stays into your short-term memory. Now we go on to the short-term memory, and after entering the sensory mind. So after entering the sensory mind, the limited amount of information, that is from thousands of information being bombarded at this very moment. Not only the mosquito prick, because we gave an importance to it, it was stored in our mind for short duration of time. Now short-term memory is only from 3 seconds to 20 seconds. And there is, according to the Miller, and there are 7 pieces of information which can be stored in the by an individual. Now he made an experiment in it's called the Miller's magic number 7, and he did this study in 1956. So he gave a piece of music to every person, means to say respondent, and was he changed the, means to say, of different tones. He made the individuals hear different tones of music with different pitches. Now people or the respondent, they were able to interpret only 5 to 7 means to say tones, and thereafter they got confused. They were not able to interpret it. So he gave his magic number that the individuals could only store the information from plus 2 to minus 2 for 7, means to say plus 7 plus 2 for 7, then it becomes 9. So maximum 9, and least number is, that is your 5. So between 5 to range of 5 to 7, the individual stores the information and it is there. Now for example, if you have to remember a long term number, for what happens is the individual, they divide that number into different parts. For example, your mobile number also, you just divide that number into different parts, and then you remember, okay, this is the Airtel number, that means this is this, now this has to be remembered. So you divide that into 3 groups and then you remember. So the short term memory is of 3 basic types, and that is your iconic memory, that is your visual memory, and the second is your acoustic memory. Acoustic memory is for much more duration than your iconic memory. Thirdly is your working memory. Now working memory, short term memory is also referred to as your working memory, and Freudian even termed it as your conscious memory. Now for example, if you are listening something or if you are learning something, the internal thoughts are also coming into play. You are thinking about certain this number, this thing. For example, if I ask you to dial certain number, so what you will do is, and you don't have any pen and pencil right at that moment, what you will do, you will keep on reciting that number till the time you actually dial that number. It is not there that to transfer that information from short-term memory to long-term memory. You did this thing only to achieve certain goal, to dial that number. Fine. So now we go on to the next part, and that is our long-term memory. Now you must have seen when we were dealing with the sensory information, that if we gave certain importance to it, then that information was stored from sensory memory to the short-term memory. However, when it comes in for the long-term memory, it is not this. What happens if that information, we gave certain importance to certain information, and if we found that it is useful, then, or it is emotionally attached to it, one is emotionally attached to that information, then that information would be stored in your mind, otherwise it won't. Right? That's why now we keep on saying to keep on learning, or we so this information is very important for the learners as well as for the teachers itself. For they can if they want that the students should learn, they should make that thing very useful, that this information is useful, and this will give you this much benefit. Now in the beginning itself, now I just told you that if you want to know something more about cognitive, then you have to understand what is learning and memory. So that's important. Chunking also plays a very important role. For example, I was dealing with learning. So I just said the three components which are important: your cognitive, psychomotor, and affective. So I had divided the whole process or the whole situation into three parts. Similarly, the memory system, that has the sensory, the short term, or instead of breaking them, if I would have explained you in a straight way, it would have been much more difficult for you. So chunking is very important to store any information if you want to. And in our brain, whatever the information that is being stored in the form of schemas. So schemas are nothing but the mental models of the world. And they are whatever in the long term memory, they are interrelated schemas and information is stored. So the related information is being stored in the different schemas, and once a certain component activates one schema, it activates other schemas also. For example, if I want to recall some individual, then I can say so that this individual, I met at this place, and I was wearing this dress and something like that. I can recollect from my mind. So here, on not only that particular name, if I say some name like Anita, just remember that I've met there and she looks like this. Now this is not one Anita. There are different components. The information is stored in different components, and when I just it triggered Anita name, triggered different schemas, and from there I am getting this information. So that was all about learning and memory. So I don't want the video should go on and continue. So in the next unit, we would in the next video I would be talking about cognitive information processing. How does it takes place again? Until then, keep liking this video and sharing it, and please subscribe to the channel so that you have to not to look for anything. Thank you very much.